Manny Wood 2, I like to call it. we we had Manny Ramirez, which was Manny Wood 1, but a lot of people were concerned that they, as much as every, I mean, let's face it, he's the best. He was the best guy, the best talent out there. But a lot of Dodger fans I've talked to are really more concerned about pitching, and they weren't so much in love with Manny as they are a solid number 2 starter, maybe a little bullpen help to get the team to Kenley Jansen in the 9th inning. Due at the end of the year. Manny's going to be a free agent. I don't think they want to go over the cap. They've been very diligent about watching their payroll. The Yankees are going to come at him with a bunch of money. Do they? And where does he play? I mean, where does he play? Is he? I see they moved him to third base because Turner's on the DL. But what happens when Seager comes back? You got Seager, Turner, Manny. There's a lot of things for Dave Roberts to figure out. I know Vince has got his hand right on top of this subject, so we'll go right there and get his thoughts.
Well, it's great to see Manny Manny Machado in Los Angeles in a Dodger uniform wearing number 8. He was a Gold Glove at third, and obviously he wants to play shortstop. And I don't think he has not been reluctant to play short. He's told Dave Roberts and the front office. To remember now is the Dodgers need to stay under the cap this year, so they're not penalized at that 50%, competitive balance tax. That's what they're trying to do. Next year, all bets are off. They can spend $30 million on Kershaw, however many million on Machado. To me, that's the question. For a guy like Kershaw, who's had a lot of injuries, is that the best use of your money? When right now the Dodgers and the front office, it's a new brand of baseball. It's sort of like what they're doing, what you see in basketball. It's sort of positionless baseball, and it's sort of my starters only go 6 innings. And then we send it to the bullpen, of which I challenge most Dodger fans to name more than 2 relievers in that bullpen right now. So for me, I understand it's stay under the cap this year. You can go right back on the penalties and not have to pay it at that 50% tax rate. So the Dodgers are fine. They will go after Machado. It's just a matter of whether Machado wants to stay. And the other thing that I would suggest is that Corey Seager, nobody knows what that arm's going to be like. Let's move him to second. There's a big hole at second. Logan Forsythe is terrible. Utley will be retired at the end of the year. We really don't have a prospect at second. We traded that prospect to the Rangers. There's really nobody to fill that gap. Why not Seager? And for me, you think about that. Bellinger at first, Seager at second, Machado at short, Turner at third. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Now,
drooling over that.
They will have enough money to do both Kershaw and Machado without going over?
Well, again, they'll go over, but that's next year. It's this year that they're trying to stay under. Okay. So everything resets. If they can get through this year – at the 1 year rate, because once you're on that paying tax for X amount of years straight, then your percentage goes up. So what they want to avoid is this year staying off that. So right now I don't think they're going to sign anybody else unless they do some sort of equitable trade where it's X amount of money for the equal amount of money. They're not going to do any. I doubt they're going to do anything under at the trade deadline. It just doesn't make any sense because they're barely under the cap now. But if they can clear the cap this year, it resets. Right. And so then they can start being taxed at the lower rate next year, and they can sign whoever they want. They can go after Machado, Harper, whatever Kershaw decides to do. That's going to be very interesting, the Kershaw deal.
I think Kershaw would be an idiot if he opts out with the injuries, the back problems, and the last innings I don't think he's going to go out in the open market and get more than what he would make next year.
Well, the bottom line is he could. I mean, he's still a number 1 type starter. Somebody may roll the dice on him, and he might be willing to take a lot of money for a shorter contract. But I think he likes Los Angeles. I think he wants to stay here. There's plenty of people who say, he wants to move back to where his family is in Texas. He's established here in Los Angeles, and so maybe there's the hometown deal that he cuts for the Dodgers.
Hometown discount.
But again, from my point of view, with the way that the Dodgers front office and this new brand of baseball, it's really hard to justify the kind of money that they're paying Kershaw for a #1 starter who can only go about 6 innings, or that they only allow to go 6 innings.
Exactly.
For the rest of this year, where they go, do they go to the playoffs? If they do go to the playoffs, how far do they go? Was he a big factor in the playoffs? I mean, before I'm going to sit here and tell you that I'm going to sign him for a big contract, I got to see what I'm going to get out of him. Look at Machado's been playing for the Orioles. They're horrendous. He'll play anywhere you want him to play because he just wants to play for a winning squad. And you can tell he's like re-energized. He's straight. He took a double into a triple the other day. He's really happy where he's at. So he's the first one to hold up his hand and go, you just tell me where I need to play, and I'm going to give you 110%. Because he knows there's money at the end of this thing, right? He just needs to make sure that, this team has gotten tremendously better with him. Is Turner too slow to play second base? Is that why you're saying if you were to... I never thought about that, but I think it's a great idea if that arm is just so-so to put him at second base. That lineup would be absolutely – and I know you say Bellinger, but Muncy's been holding his own at first base too. And you put – and what I guess the question is, where do you put Chris Taylor, right? Or is he just kind of going to be that guy that's going to fill in when guys go on DLs and give guys a rest? Because the great thing about him is you can put him wherever you want in the infield. He could probably play first base too, But I think there's – I think they're just getting deeper and deeper. But now, you say you'd love the Dodgers fans to go ahead and name 2 relievers. I'd like to see the Angels fans name 1, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I think that's where now we're sitting. You got a couple more days, before you start, you start trying to get more other relief pitching. But I think that's where you guys need to go because I know Walker Buehler. They kind of said, hey, we're going to put you on the 10-day DL. And we'll bring you back, right? So I think the strategy right now is to make sure that going by the end of the season, all that pitching staff is healthy as ever, and you got it all locked in to how guys are going to set up and who's going to – well, you already know who's going to close. But I think just need to go out and get some more lefties and righties and kind of fill that relief spot. Now, who's out there? I know that the Dodgers have top 10 minor league systems, so they have guys to deal. So that's a good thing, Right,
but they're not going to take on more money. They can't can't do a deal where it's all minor league contracts for a guy like a Machado or somebody who has. They're just not going to be able to do that. Right. I think that the Dodgers may say, well, if somebody's on the market, we'll go over the tax if we have to. I think that's just a lot of hot wind. I think it's. Number 1, that the pitching isn't good enough. It's number 2 in the major leagues in ERA. Right. So don't tell me that that's a problem, that they need to go out and get relievers. They're doing just fine with the group that they're cycling in and around. It's not perfect. It's not great. There may not be that perfect guy who's the bridge. There may not be the perfect bridge to Kenley Jansen, but it's good enough to be the second in the majors in ERA. And the other myth is that this is a really deep lineup. They're in the regular season, pitchers may be afraid to pitch to some of the Dodgers, but I'll just go through it, and you tell me if this strikes fear into postseason pitching. Justin Turner, 259. Chris Taylor, 258. Yasmani Grandal, 255. Jock P. 6. Logan Forsythe, 217, and then Puig is at the top of the list with 265. That's why their batting average is right up there, right? I think about 13th in the majors, middle of the road. But it's a myth if you think that there's a lot of depth to the Dodgers batting order. The lineup, the roster, sure. But in the lineup, you can only hit so many guys, and you you get your lefty righty and that sort of thing. But these are still a bunch of 250 hitters.
Zach Britton to the Yankees.
Well, they certainly don't need any help in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah.